Hi, folks. My name is Mr. Thomas, and I'm your instructor for DMPT 1000 Intro to Design, Media, and Production at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. I'll be your instructor online for this entire semester, which runs from January the 11th, 2021 until May the 3rd, 2021. This is the spring 2021 semester. Basically, DMPT 1000 is all about teaching you the principles of visual design. This is a very important course, possibly one of the most important courses that you will take at Georgia Piedmont Technical College as a DMPT student. The reason for that is you're going to learn all of the basics, the ABCs, the building blocks of visual design in this course. And we fully expect you to apply all of the principles, all of the skills that you learn in this course to all of your other more advanced courses, such as DMPT 1600, Intro to Videography, DMPT 2600, Basic Editing, DMPT 2800, Narrative Filmmaking. From the first class to the very last class that you take in your major, you will apply the principles of design that you learn in this course. That is possibly the most important distinction between great students and great artists, whether you're video production or 3D animation or graphic design, and a mediocre or not good artist and student, is how well do they retain the knowledge, the very important knowledge that you will gain, the very important principles of art design that you will gain in this course. Not only will you learn about art design in theory, not only will you learn a lot of history as far as art design or design and media production, but you'll also have the opportunity to apply what you have learned physically through projects. This is very important. This is not just a book course where you just read out of the book. Yes, there's plenty of very important knowledge that you do have to read and know from the textbook and from the PowerPoints that I have supplied to you, but you will also need to apply what you have learned in the projects that you are given. Now, the projects that you're giving, and we'll talk about those in a moment when we go over the syllabus. The projects that you're given, they kind of give you a primer on Adobe Photoshop. Okay, Adobe Photoshop is a raster imaging program. You can basically composite still images. You can create art with pixels. Most of you are probably familiar with or have heard of Photoshop. It's within the Adobe Creative Cloud suite. That is our primary tool in this course. Okay. If you do not have a subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud, which costs about $19.99 a month at a student rate, you can look for details on that on adobe.com. Okay, and look for the Adobe Creative Cloud. But if you do not have or not inclined to purchase that at this point, then the alternative program that you want to look at is a program called Krita, Krita. And it is a free program that allows you to do not all, but many of the same things that you do in Photoshop. All the things that I'll be asking you to do in your projects in here, you can easily get it done using Krita. Krita is free. You can find it online at www.krita.com, or you can do a search in Google for Krita, Krita. So you're definitely going to need a computer with which to do these projects. It does not matter whether you have a Mac or a PC. It does not matter if you have a laptop or a desktop. But one thing that may be problematic is, are the tablets. The tablets like the Chromebook. Some of the tablets that are kind of like somewhere between laptops and tablets. Sometimes they can be rather problematic as far as running Photoshop or Krita or doing a lot of the things that you would normally do, not just in DMPT 1000, but in all of the courses here at GPTC. So if you're looking at doing all of your work on a Chromebook or some other sort of tablet or hybrid tablet laptop, you may want to look at getting something a little more powerful in the form of a laptop or a desktop. If you are not inclined to do that anytime in the near future or in the distant future, you can definitely call the library at the school at GPTC. You can call the library and they have a program where they can check out computers to you. Now, these computers normally do not have the Adobe Creative Cloud on them, and they generally don't let you install anything on them. But if you needed a laptop for general use, and these are very kind of basic consumer grade laptops that are not specialized for any kind of media design. But that's a resource that you can look into if you just need a laptop. But definitely it's an investment in your future as an artist. I want to highly recommend that you, I want to recommend but not require. I can't require it, but I want to recommend that you invest in some sort of serious laptop or desktop, Mac or PC, it doesn't matter, and definitely invest in, at the very least, the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, which has a $19.99 per month licensing fee. It's like a subscription that you have to pay. That's an investment in your future. You will use these tools for the rest of your time at GPTC, and you will use these tools after you graduate. There are very few days I, as a professional filmmaker, don't use Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Audition, or one of the other 25 programs within the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. Okay, moving on. So as you can see, we're now here on the Blackboard site, and mine looks a little different from yours because it has all the classes that I teach in a particular semester listed. However, when you log into Blackboard, you'll see just your list of courses that you're taking this semester. You will click on the Dmpt 1000 link here, and it'll take you to the course. Okay, now this first section is called announcements. Announcements, they are critically important because this is an online class. My primary means of communicating with you will be through email and through announcements. At the beginning of every week, usually Sunday night or Monday morning, I will send you a checklist of everything that we're going to be doing for that entire week. All the quizzes, any projects that are due, the midterm exam, that everything will be listed in the announcements for that week. Sometimes I kind of give you a heads up for, okay, in a week or two, project number 1 is due, so you need to be working on it now. Sometimes I'll have stuff like that in the announcements, but it's critically important that you check these announcements very often, and you also check your email. As you get them available to you, you will always see them in the announcement section. Okay. Now, one thing, and I'll talk about this in a moment when I look at the quizzes, one thing that's true in all cases is, in all my classes, but especially in this one, there are usually between 10 to 13 quizzes in every course. Okay, we take a quiz every week. The quizzes are based on the reading out of the textbook and also the PowerPoints that I give you for the chapter as a review. The PowerPoints also include a lot of notes that are not in the textbook, so you definitely want to review those. But in any case, when I post a new test, you'll see it right here in the announcements page. Like I said, oh, I know where I was. Okay, and that is all of the quizzes for the semester are available to you now. The midterm exam is not available. The final exam is not available, but all of the quizzes are available to you now. So if you want to stay ahead of the schedule, which is something I strongly recommend, keep up with your reading or get ahead on your reading, which is something I strongly recommend, and then you want to take a quiz early, you are free to do it. So the quizzes are unlocked from day 1. You may take any quiz anytime you want to, okay? So the announcements tell you when quizzes have been posted, and by the time you see this, all the quizzes will be posted for Blackboard, and you can take them at any point in time. So I mentioned PowerPoint presentations. PowerPoint presentations are a very important part of the course. I make the PowerPoint presentations myself. You can always find them in the course information section of the class. This section right here, if you look at the index on the left-hand side of the Blackboard site for the class, click on course information, and it'll take you to a page where it will have a folder called Dmpt 1000 PowerPoints. Okay, if you click on that folder, you'll see a PowerPoint for every chapter we're going to cover. Well, I won't say for every chapter because the goal is for you not to depend entirely or solely on the PowerPoints. The PowerPoints are not a replacement for the textbook. Yes, you must purchase a textbook and you must read the textbook thoroughly. The PowerPoints merely review some of the ideas in the textbook, and they also present a lot of new ideas that are not in the textbook, new details that are not in the textbook, and you are responsible for knowing this new information that's not in the textbook. You're responsible for knowing that for your quizzes and your exams. Okay, so please make sure that you check these PowerPoints out, and if you click on the link right here, it'll allow you to download. Okay, depends on what type of browser you're using. Sometimes it'll just start downloading automatically, or you click on it and it'll open in your Blackboard screen, and then you can click this button right here in the upper right hand corner, the down arrow here, and you can download it to your computer from there. Sometimes the PowerPoints are in the form of PDFs like this one. See? Other times they are actual PowerPoint presentations. Those have the little, instead of PDF suffix, it would say .pptx. In order to watch a PowerPoint that is a actual PowerPoint, the actual program, you need to make sure that you have access to the Microsoft PowerPoint, which you do through Office 365. All of you have access to that. You have an Office 365 account given to you when you enroll in class. And Office 365 is Microsoft Word, which allows you to type papers, Microsoft PowerPoint, which allows you to make or read PowerPoint presentations, Microsoft Excel, which allows you to do spreadsheets, and a whole bunch of other Microsoft productivity applications like that. And it's all online. It's online based. Okay, so we know about the PowerPoints. Okay, I'm going to show you where you can find the quizzes, exams, and projects. If you click on the course content link here in the index on the left-hand side, it'll open the main area that we deal with most of the time. The quizzes folder, of course, if you click on that, you'll have access to the quizzes. Here are only 3, but the others will be available by the time you read this. In order to take a quiz, you click on it right there. Okay, you click on the name of the quiz, and then you click begin. All right, I'll do a quick one. You click begin, and then you click in the bubbles for the correct answer. At the end, when you're done, you click save and submit. Save and submit. Okay, you can click save all answers if you want to, but it doesn't really mean much. But make sure you click save and submit before you call it a day and stop taking the quiz. Okay, make sure you finish quizzes that you start. I often have a number of students in every class who may just start a quiz and not answer any of the questions, or they'll start a quiz and answer a couple of the questions, and for whatever reason they walk off and don't finish. Generally speaking, after about an hour and a half, they will kick you out of a quiz. That is, unless you have some sort of exception from Paula Greenwood, she's a person who handles people who need extra time and things like that for medical reasons. But the idea is you have about an hour and a half. You can take your quiz anytime before the deadline, okay? Before it's time for the quiz to disappear. However, if you start a quiz and then you leave it, you quit, and you come back, you cannot come back in to finish taking that quiz. I do not give quiz retakes. Okay, so if you miss a deadline, that's too bad. If you don't do well on it, too bad. Try again next time. We have lots of quizzes. All quizzes are worth only 15% of your total grade. So don't let 1 or 2 grades that are not great get you down. Just make sure you keep up with the reading on the PowerPoints in the textbook, and make sure you remember to take the quiz. I do not give makeup work at all, makeup projects, extra credit. I don't do any of that. Okay, so please make sure you get it right the first time. Okay. Also, even though you can start a quiz starting from January the 11th, which is the first day of the semester, please know that each quiz has a deadline. So that means that you don't have until the end of the semester to take quiz 1, for example. Each quiz is normally due on the Friday that, well, let me give an example. The first quiz is assigned to you on the 7th. That's that's today, but it's for the first week of the class, but it's due on Friday, January the 22nd by 11:59 p.m. Okay, so quiz 2, which is available now as well, it will be due by a week later, the next Friday, January the 29th at 11:59 p.m. So every quiz, even though you can take them all now, they all have a shutoff date. They all have a window that closes. Okay, you need, if you're not keeping up with, what quiz is the most current quiz that we're covering in the book right now according to the syllabus, and you're not aware of when the deadline of the current quiz is, you can very easily miss a quiz, and no, you cannot go back and take it. So please, please, please make sure you look at those announcements. I send announcements out by email and also in the announcement section in Blackboard that'll tell you what quiz is due that week. So please, there's no excuse for you to miss a quiz because you get told about it. Well, it's in the syllabus, you get any announcements, and you get it by email. So you get it at least 3 different ways. So please make sure that you do not miss your quizzes. Keep on top of your reading and keep on top of your deadlines. Okay. So those are the quizzes. The exams, you'll only have to go into this folder for midterm or the final exam, okay? Projects, the projects folder will have 2 things in it. It will have something called a project assignment sheet. A project assignment sheet is a sheet that tells you everything that you need to do in order to complete a project. Okay, it'll give you all the details, everything you need to know, okay? The most important part is a lot of students either kind of scan the project assignment sheet, they don't thoroughly read the project assignment sheet, and they just kind of do the project at the last minute with a cursory or very vague knowledge of what they're supposed to be doing. These people invariably get bad grades because of the fact that while I'm grading your project, I have the project assignment sheet right in front of me like a checklist, and I'm checking off everything that you're supposed to achieve and the level at which you are supposed to achieve it. So if you just have a vague knowledge of what you're supposed to do, I have a very clear knowledge of what you're supposed to do, and I have a checklist in front of me, and I'm going to grade your project based on that. So it is extremely important that you thoroughly read your project assignment sheet. I would recommend reading it several times, once before you really start on it, maybe another time right before you start on it. And as you do it, have that project assignment sheet right there, whether you print it out or you just click on another screen on your computer and just go back and forth and read it and follow it to the letter, okay? Because that is like my rubric. That is how I'm going to evaluate your work. Also in the projects folder, we have the project Dropbox, okay? That's where you'll go to turn in your project after you're done. Make sure you turn your project into the correct Dropbox. That shouldn't be hard at all because you'll know which project you're dealing with. You'll have about 3 or 4 projects during the semester, okay? And we also have professionalism and participation. Professionalism and participation, that basically, how are you at meeting your deadlines? How are you communicating with the teacher and responding to the lessons that we have, the things and the instructions that I give you online? And how do you conduct yourself as an artist, as a professional? Okay, it's very, very important because we're not just training you how to use Photoshop. If you use Photoshop or Krita, we're not just teaching you theory or history. We're helping you shape yourself into a professional artist. Very critical, okay? Something that I want to introduce to you, and this is put on the site by our program director, Miss Stephanie Voltolan. This is basically like a rubric for Dmpt 1000. Everything that is listed here, all the elements, color, line, shape, texture, contrast, etc. You should know all of these things by the time you leave this class, by the time you leave Dmpt 1000. As you can see, there are different levels of proficiency you can have, from excellent, which is where you all want to be, to good, average, fair, and poor. For example, an excellent knowledge of the concept of color as far as design, the class or art design would be if you have a clear and concordant color harmony that's selected and impeccably applied to your composition. So that basically means you really understand how colors work, because there are very specific ways that colors can work on the eye and on the brain. You understand how it works and you've applied it to your work with that understanding. You applied that understanding that you learned in the book and on the PowerPoint, you applied it in your project number 2 to be specific. Good would be, well, okay, you have a clear understanding of color harmonies and you mostly applied what you learned to your composition, and it goes down from there. Who basically evaluates how well you know this? In a broad sense, you need to take a look at this before you start the class and get an idea of what you're supposed to learn and get an idea of the level of proficiency that you're supposed to learn it at. Excellent is what I would aim for if I were you, okay? But when it comes to actually grading the specific projects, that's my job. So this just basically tells you everything you should know by the time you get out of the course. If there's anything you don't know, then you definitely need to ask me, or if you want to do the research in the book, that's fine too. Here are some great strategies for success that we have as far as doing well in the course. This is very important. Don't marginalize this. Read this thoroughly. A lot of students have problems with time management. A lot of students have problems with procrastination and meeting deadlines. Once again, I don't give second chances at anything. You got to do it right the first time. I understand not everybody's going to get a 100% A on everything. I understand that. I fully expect that. But it's really more about you setting your priorities and you working with your time. If you have a commitment like a family or kids or a job or something like that, it's up to you to manage your time so you can do all the things that you have to do in your regular lives and also get your work done. So that means that I don't accept excuses as far as, oh, well, I had to pick up my kids from school, or I didn't have a ride to so-and-so's place, or anything like that. Because in the real world of art, and when you get to do what you want to do, which is working in the industry, people don't care. People do not care what your personal problems are. In commercial art, that means making movies or making video games or whatever it is you do. They have a deadline because your boss has a boss. And if you don't do your work, that's going to get your boss in trouble. So nobody cares about people's personal problems. You do your best as an adult to fit your work life and your school life together so that you can get everything done. Okay, here are also some really good things at the bottom here. Showing up to every class. Of course, this is online, so you don't have to show up to anything, not physically at least. Being attentive and taking good notes and staying organized. Read all that. Here is a really, really important part. Principles for design. These are like our 10 commandments of design. Okay, these are the things that you should definitely know in addition to that rubric at the beginning. These are the things that the elements that you should come out having a mastery of when you leave this course that will contribute to your work in other courses, like balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. So you need to know these larger concepts as well as the individual elements of art. Okay, line, shape, color, value, form, texture, space. I teach you these you learn these in the first chapter, basic elements. I have a really good mnemonic. That helps you remember the different elements of art. Okay, and there's one of them missing off of this list, but that's okay because we have other ones. And it is, if you can remember the phrase, please begins with P, let begins with L, Sally begins with S, take begins with T, vacation begins with V, then if you can remember that, please let Sally take vacation, you can remember the 5 elements of art that we learned in chapter 1. 5 elements of 2D design. P, please, stands for point, like a point, a dot on a piece of paper. That's an artistic design or element of art. L, let, stands for line, okay? S, Sally, stands for shape. T, take, stands for texture. V, vacation, stands for value, okay? And so you have most of those here. You also have form and space, which we talk about a little later on. But please let Sally take vacation, or point, line, shape, texture, value. Point, line, shape, texture, value. Those are the 5 elements of art design. Do not confuse the S for shape with the S for space. We don't really talk about space in chapter 1, but we do talk about that a little later on. Okay, so that's everything in Blackboard that you need to be concerned about. Let's take a quick look at the syllabus for the course. Okay, so I'm not going to cover everything in the syllabus because it is quite a few pages long. It's like at least 5 pages long. And this video is already pretty long. It's going to be a half an hour or so by the time I get done with it. But this is all very important stuff. Here's the syllabus for the course. You can get to the syllabus. Let's go back to Blackboard. You can get to the syllabus by when you log into the class. There is a link here, the syllabus and no-show assignment. If you click this right here, you'll see the syllabus. If I click on that link to the syllabus, it'll allow me to download the syllabus to my computer. You want to download the syllabus to your computer and read it thoroughly. Okay. Everything you need to know about the class is here. One of the things that it starts off with is your proctored event. A proctored event is a mandatory event that you will take virtually on your computer through a program called Respondus Lockdown and Monitor. Okay, it's basically a way that you can take your final exam, which is what you'll take during this proctored event. You can take your final exam and they can keep everybody honest. They can make sure that the person who's taking the exam is really the person who showed up for the course or signed up for the course. And they make sure you don't surf the web to find answers to the questions, things like that. It's a very expensive piece of software that the state of Georgia has invested in. And that is how we will administer our final exam. Actually, let me get you the current. Here it is right here. The current syllabus is right here. Okay. So as you can see, the Respondus Lockdown Monitor is how we're going to give the final exam, and the proctored event is basically us all sitting down at the same time, Wednesday, April the 28th, from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. and taking that final exam. Okay. If you do not show up for the proctored event, not only do you lose 10% of your grade because of the fact that you did not attend the proctored event, but you also get a 0 on the final exam. And the final exam, as you can see in the syllabus, I'll just scroll down here and I'll show you how much the final exam is worth. Here. Okay. The final exam is worth about 10% of your final grade. So the final exam and the final exam and the proctored event together are worth 10% of your final grade. So if you don't show up for the proctored event, you get 0s on both your final exam and your proctored event. And the highest you can get in the course would be an 80%. And that's if you did everything else perfectly. You got A's on all the quizzes, A's on all the projects, and an A on the midterm exam. That's not the kind of bet I would make. I would not say, oh, well, I can just miss the final exam, the proctored event, and I'll be okay. I'll get a B or a C. Probably not. So you want to make sure that you attend the proctored event. Once again, it's on April the 28th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Respondus Lockdown Monitor. If you have any questions about it, any issues with the day or time, any issues with computer access, please let me know. You're going to hear more about that as time goes by. Here's my information. We're not on campus this semester until after January the 25th as far as the teachers. You're never going to be on campus as students, but I'm going to be in my office on campus at some point this semester, but because of the pandemic, it won't be before before January the 25th. I'm sorry, before January the 25th. So don't show up to the school expecting to find me before then. And even then, if COVID is still an issue, we try to encourage people, don't go to the teacher's office because we want to keep everybody healthy and safe. The best way to get in contact with me is either by email at my email address. You can see it right here, thomasj@gptc.edu. Or you can email me and schedule a video chat appointment if you want to video chat. We'd probably do video chat on Blackboard Collaborate. That's a video chat system that we have. Okay. So if you need to get in contact with me. That's how you do it. As you probably guessed by now from everything else I've said, in this class, we're going to cover the basics of design. Okay, the fundamentals of design, including composition, layout, color theory, and typography. Okay, and we will have some computer involvement. Like I said, I can't make it a requirement that you purchase Adobe Creative Cloud or another program like that. But like I said, you can use Krita, which is free if you want to. Okay. Office hours, once again, I'm not on the campus, I'm at home. So emailing me or scheduling for a video chat appointment is best. As you can see, after that, we have our student learning objectives for the course. Okay, right down here. All right. And our breakout details. After that, more information on me, pretty much what we've seen before. Here's our textbook, Launching the Imagination by Mary Stewart. It is critical that you purchase the book. It is a non-negotiable point. It is in the bookstore. You do not have to go to the bookstore literally to purchase the textbook. You can either go to the website online and purchase it. You can call the bookstore and purchase it. I know as recently as this past summer, they were mailing them to the students once you ordered them from the bookstore for free. So please make sure you make all of those arrangements by calling the school and getting transferred to the bookstore or emailing the bookstore. This is the book right here. 5th edition. It's by an author named Mary Stewart. It's the 5th edition. There's no way getting around it, y'all. You have to buy the book. Okay, if you don't buy the book, just prepare to fail the course. Okay, because I test very, very stringently out of the textbook. And it's a great book that you really should keep with you for the entirety of your time at GPTC and afterwards, because it has a lot of great information on art foundations, things that you're going to need to know as an artist. Okay, now let's talk about the no-show and work ethics material. Okay, back on Blackboard, if you click on the syllabus and no-show assignment link, okay, you'll see a folder that's called no-show participation assignment and work ethics. If you go inside of these folders, you'll see no-show assignment. You would click on the no-show assignment link and click begin. It's just like a quiz. And these are just a few questions, just 4 questions on just basic stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the course. It does not count towards your grade. It cannot count for you. It does not count against you. But you must take it by the deadline of January the 24th. That's a Sunday, January the 24th by 5 p.m. If you do not take the no-show assignment and the ethics quiz, okay, do we have that here too? Or is it just no-show assignment this time? Okay, I believe it's just no-show assignment. If you do, oh, here it is, work ethics. Click on work ethics. I clicked on the no-show syllabus and no-show assignment link and I got here. Click on the work ethics quiz. It's the same thing. Click begin. Go ahead and answer these 4 questions. Once again, they're just, questions that pretty much prove that you have logged into the course. That's the whole point of work ethics and no-show, to prove that you have actually logged into the course and you've done it in the first couple of weeks of the semester. If you do not take the work ethics quiz or the no-show assignment, you will be dropped from the course. It is extremely important. If you do not take the work ethics quiz or the no-show assignment by January the 24th, 2021 at 5 p.m., if you don't take it before that point in time, you will be dropped from the course. Okay, so please make sure you take them. Once again, they can't count against you. Okay, work ethics and no-show. Okay. Okay, so going back to our syllabus. Okay. By the way, the syllabus doesn't cover everything. It covers only things that are specific to my course and a little bit more that's specific to the school. But there's a lot of other information like safety and emergency procedures, equal opportunity, grading system and grade symbols that you can find information on online. Okay, so you would definitely need to go to gptc.edu/supplemental-syllabus to find a longer, more comprehensive syllabus on general things at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Okay, here are your competencies and outcomes, by the way. These are the things you're supposed to learn in the course. The computer stuff, not so much this semester because you are learning it virtually and you don't have access to the computers on campus. I know everyone has a different computer, so those are a little bit harder to inspect. But things like in the design section and composition and layout, color theory, etc., these things are things that we are mandated to make sure that we teach by the state of Georgia. And it basically lists it here as far as just requirements. We legally have to present to you the student outcomes, what you're supposed to know, the skills you're supposed to be able to demonstrate by the time you finish the course. Of course, we have other sections like work ethics and course policies and communication. Of course, I told you you can reach out to me by email. If you email me, please give me at least 24 hours to respond. If you email me Monday through Thursday, if you email me on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, please know that the email will be, I will answer the email on the following Monday, okay? So if you email me on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, you're not probably gonna get it. Don't expect an email back during the weekend because we don't, work on the weekends. Okay, here is a statement on the proctored event. Please make sure you read that very carefully. It tells you that we're going to convene online. That means you won't come to class. You'll be on your computer at a specific time, 12 to 1:30 for this class, and you will have your driver's license, passport, ID, or whatever kind of government form of ID, and that's going to be part of what you have to present to prove that you are indeed you and not somebody else who's taking the class for you. After that, we have the semester course calendar. Okay. This basically lays out what we're going to do in the course week by week. The left column tells you what week it is. Like week 1 is the week that you're in if you're watching this between January the 11th and January the 17th of 2021. The middle column tells you what you should be reading that week. Okay. Chapter 1, basic elements, pages 4 through 36 in a textbook. Also read the PowerPoint that I've made available to you in the course information section. Okay. Also, I have available for you a Photoshop tutorial link that's also found in the course item section of Blackboard. That's not something that I'm really going to test you on, but just in case you do want to assimilate the skills, I can't really test you on that this semester because we're online and you're not at school, and I can't expect everybody to have Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so these are the things that you should be doing during the week. That's listed in the left column. In the right column, these are the things that are basically quizzes. Anytime it's a week where a quiz is due or an exam is due or a project is due, this project assignment column will tell you what's due that week, meaning that, hey, you should have read chapter 1, for example. I'll skip down to this. You should have read chapter 1 and then week 1. So in week 2, you can see you're going to start quiz 1. You're going to do quiz 1 in week 2. Okay, and you must have it done by 11:59 p.m. on Friday, January the 22nd, 2021. All right. And we also have a project, a very simple project that we're going to have due on January the 21st, 2021. You have to upload that project to Blackboard. Okay. So as you go down the course schedule, you'll see the weeks. Week 3 is January 25th through the 31st. Week 4 is February 1st to the 7th. And make sure you keep track of the readings. Make sure you're reading whatever is in the center column during that week, if not earlier, and make sure you're aware of what quiz is going to be due that week. Generally speaking, if I have a reading on a quiz, like for a reading on a chapter, for example, in week 3, you're supposed to read chapter 3, but the quiz for chapter 3 is in week 4 or the following week. Likewise, you read chapter 4 in week 4, but you take the quiz for week 4 in week 5. Okay, so we go all the way down to week 8. You're reading chapters in the textbook, chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then in week 8, well, actually 3, 4, 5, 6, and then week 8, you are going to prepare for your midterm exam. Okay, So I give you a break from learning new stuff in week 8. In week 9, you take your midterm exam, okay? The midterm exam is on all the chapters we've covered up until week 9 in the book, which would be 1 through 6, ideally, okay? Plus any PowerPoints and any notes, any supplemental material that you got, like in the PowerPoints, that's what's also going to be in the quiz. So coming back to week 10, we go back to the book, read chapter 7, all right? Read the PowerPoint on chapter 7, okay? And then we're going to move on from there, okay? Keep doing what we were doing before. So I want you to see that week 13, there is no class or no assignments due because it's spring break, and I'll give you a break for that whole week from April the 5th through April the 10th. I won't expect you to turn in anything, and I won't give you any new assignments, okay? Week 14, when we get back in, essentially, there's going to be I'll modify this. I don't think we're going to do chapter 15, but I'll make a change. Anytime I make a change to the syllabus, I'll let you know ahead of time as far as what I'm going to change. So just be aware of that, okay? I'll usually tell you through an email or put in the announcements of changes that are going to be in the syllabus, or a lot of times in the announcement, I'll tell you what we're going to do that week. Okay, so you can see, okay, well, this is different from the syllabus. Week 14, we're not going to take a quiz on chapter 15. Instead, we're going to take a quiz on a different chapter. I'll say that in the syllabus. I'll say that in the announcements. I'll just basically tell you what you're going to do in week 14, for example. Of course, and your final project is just, we have a few other projects, a couple other projects that I didn't cover, but you do have a final project that's due on April the 19th at 11:59 p.m. on Blackboard. You want to be studying for your final exam at that point in time, and you're going to end in week 16 with the mandatory proctored event that we talked about. That'll be also where you take the final exam on respondents, lockdown, and monitoring. That'll be on Wednesday, April the 28th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. The semester actually ends on April the 3rd, or week 17. Okay, I put TBA. The thing is that I like to finish things ahead of time. I don't like to wait until the very last day of class to get final exams or final projects, because invariably something will happen. We get slowed down. We don't cover as much material as we wanted to. And, if you have to stop on a dime and make sure if you miss it on week 17, that's it for the semester, and you might miss material. So I'm trying not to push our backs against the wall like that. So I try to wrap up the semester many times about a week earlier. Okay, so that's why we don't have anything listed for week 17. So that about does it. We've covered the Blackboard site for the class. We've covered the syllabus. I've told you a lot about the course. You know how to get in contact with me. I provide feedback when you turn in, say you turn in a project. I provide feedback, and you won't see anything here right now because I'll try a different class. This is how I provide feedback. So if you do a project, you're like, well, okay, I see my grade. You can always see your grade, but why did I get this particular grade? I want to show you how I provide feedback, because that's very important. I always provide great feedback for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to it's a previous semester. This is not your semester, previous semester with some previous students. And I will find a project 2, the color harmonies, okay? And so essentially, this is a student that's not you probably, but you're gonna find your grade on Blackboard for a project that you wanna see my feedback on. You're gonna click the grade number, all right? And essentially, when you click the grade number, it's gonna take you to my notes. It's gonna take you to you're gonna see your grade, it's gonna take you to my notes, okay? And here are my notes right here in this little field to the right. Okay. And what I do is I give you a really clear definition of what you did right, what you did wrong, and generally how you fix it. That's critically important, because whether you did something right, but especially if you did something wrong, if you don't bother to take the time to read how you got it wrong, you may pay huge consequences on quizzes and tests, of course, but in your future as an artist. So if you don't understand a principle and you weren't able to demonstrate it on a project, and you don't bother to go back and figure out why you got the grade you got, or more important than the grade is, get some sort of understanding as far as your level of development as an artist. If you don't want to take the time to do that, you're going to have a huge amount of trouble in the future because you're not going to learn from your mistakes. So that's pretty much all I have for you for the walkthrough video. I know it's pretty long. It's been closer to 45 minutes, but I think you know everything you need to know to get started. You know how to get in contact with me. If you need to, you can email me at thomasj@gptc.edu. I'm very happy to teach this course. This is the first course that we learn. It is a critically important course. Sometimes we call it a make or break course. If you want to know if you have what it takes to be an artist, or if you really like this kind of work, this is where you'll learn. Okay, you won't be shooting films or making animations in this course per se, but you'll be learning the principles. You'll be learning how to think and how to work like an artist does. And if this doesn't jive with you, if you don't like it, or this is not where your talent is, this is where you'll learn. This class typically has a huge washout rate. That means people who just flunk out of the course and leave the school and never come back. So some people call it a gatekeeper course, all right? It's where we kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, as it were. We want to find the people who are really here to learn who want to put in the hard work and learn how to be great artists. We have 3 types of students. Generally, great students who do their work early or on time and do excellent work. They pay close attention to detail. They dot all their I's, they cross all their T's. They do all their reading on time and early, take all their quizzes, meet their deadlines. They do the project according to the project assignment sheet very well. Those students usually do really well in the course, A's or B's. Then you have students who do rush work, who forget about a project. They don't make it a priority, forget about a quiz. They don't redo the reading until the last minute, and they try to do rush work. Those people normally get D's and F's. And then you have people who just don't show up, people who don't do the work, okay? People who, that's probably the biggest category of people in this class, to be honest with you. I think I had a 50% washout rate last semester. That wasn't because of the fact that people were necessarily, not good at this. Okay, it had to do with people they just weren't doing the work. When they just got zeros and they flunked out of the class, and that's such a waste of time. So it's a waste of your time, waste of money, waste of effort. So I would definitely say you want to be in that first class of people. Okay, knowing that this is the make or break course. All right. So if you have any questions, you know how to reach out to me. You have a wonderful, wonderful beginning of your semester. Remember, check your email, your school email, and the announcements obsessively, okay, to make sure that you're on top of all the latest and greatest information for Dmpt 1000. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you this semester.